Have you ever had work whiplash? One minute you are absolutely on fire, buzzing with new ideas, and the next, you're just completely drained, totally frustrated, and you can't even figure out why. Well, we're about to dive into the story of a leader who was living that exact paradox every single day. On the surface, he was successful, his team was amazing, but inside, he was just confused. And it all came to a head in one single conversation that, honestly, changed everything.
So this is what he finally admitted to his colleague, Amy. And if you're doing the math in your head right now thinking, wait a minute, that doesn't add up. Well, that was exactly his point. He felt pulled in so many directions, it felt like three halves of a person. It was just this baffling, perfect summary of his work life. And it's the mystery we're going to solve today.
And this was Amy's response. So simple, so brilliant. It just cut right through all the noise and set the perfect tone for the deep dive conversation that was about to happen. It wasn't judging him, it was an invitation with a little bit of humor to figure out what was really going on.
Okay, so let's really break down this problem, this paradox he was living. He would start the day totally happy, excited about everything, but by noon, he'd be complaining, he'd be exhausted. Amy saw it all the time. She pointed out how he'd go from being completely exasperated to, in her words, lit up around a new idea in just a matter of seconds. This wasn't just a bad mood, it was this wild, unpredictable cycle. As Amy was about to leave, he stopped her. He insisted he really needed to get to the bottom of this. And that one decision kicked off this impromptu 3-hour deep dive. He said later it felt like he'd blacked out because he was so completely immersed in figuring this out. The details got blurry, but the outcome, well, that was going to be crystal clear. And this is when the stakes got real. Amy confessed that his constant, unpredictable ups and downs were so exhausting that she had actually interviewed for another job and seriously considered leaving just 6 months earlier. Wow, this wasn't just about one guy's bad moods anymore. This was about the health, the stability of the entire team. So with the stakes suddenly that high, the chat shifted. It turned into a full-on investigation. Two other team members, Jasper and Lynn, they jumped in. And together, they all started drilling down past the symptoms to find the real root cause of all this frustration. And this right here tells you everything you need to know about the kind of honesty they had on this team. Jasper's response, it wasn't mean. It was that kind of blunt, funny candor you can only get away with when there's a ton of trust. It totally broke the tension and let them get past the polite, surface-level answers and down to the real truth. After everyone stopped laughing, Lynn asked the question that absolutely changed the game. Are you tired or are you tired of something? Just that simple little rephrase, it shifted the entire focus from some vague feeling of being worn out to a specific, identifiable problem. It was the key that unlocked the whole thing. And with that one question, boom, the answer was suddenly obvious. He wasn't tired of work. He was tired of something, and he knew exactly what it was. It's what he complained about to his wife every night. He was tired of, quote, having to constantly check on things and keep them moving forward and feeling like if I don't, things will grind to a halt. And this chart just lays it out perfectly. Look, on one side you have what energized him. Coming up with ideas, evaluating new stuff, being the fun guy. That's where he got his juice. But on the other side, that's what drained him. The constant checking in, keeping things moving, he hated being the pusher. Then he found a word for this thing that was draining all his energy. Exhort. The act of strongly encouraging people, urging them to do something, keeping them on track. He asked his team if they actually enjoyed that part of the job, and their answer was a total revelation. And there it is, the big light bulb moment. One by one, his team members said they didn't just dislike that kind of work, they hated it. They'd much rather just do the tasks themselves. And in that instant, he realized the entire burden of exhorting, of pushing everyone forward, it fell completely on him. And it was crushing him.
Now, this could have just been a personal therapy session, but it wasn't, because the conversation turned a corner. It shifted from just diagnosing his problem to actually solving it for everyone. The focus moved away from his feelings and onto a big blank whiteboard.
It was Jasper who asked the magic question, so what do we do? In that simple prompt, it transformed everything. It took the leader from being the subject of the investigation and made him the facilitator of the solution. It basically gave him permission to do the one thing he loved, grab a marker and start sketching out a new idea. And this is what came out of it. I mean, look at this. It's raw, it's messy, and it's absolutely brilliant.
This is what real creation looks like. It's not some polished PowerPoint, it's the good stuff. For the next 90 minutes, they filled that whiteboard with circles and arrows and words, mapping out how work actually gets done.
So out of that collaborative, creative chaos came this beautiful, simple, and incredibly powerful framework. They called it the 3 stages of work, and it was the answer to the whole mystery they started with.
So here it is. Pretty simple, right? Stage 1 is ideation. That's the fun beginning part, the brainstorming, the what-if questions. Stage 2 is activation. That's the exhorting piece we were talking about, rallying the team, getting things moving. And finally, stage 3 is implementation. That's the heads-down work of actually building the thing and getting it across the finish line.
And here is how this model just explained everything. They realized different people naturally get energy from different stages. The leader's whole paradox was solved. His joy came from stage 1, ideation. But his frustration? That came from being the only one stuck doing stage 2, activation. And meanwhile, you had people like Jasper who loved stage 3, implementation. They loved being the hero who gets it done. It all finally made perfect sense.
But this whole framework, it isn't just about their story. It's a tool that any of us can use. Understanding where you get your energy at work, and, just as importantly, where it gets drained, is the key to finding joy and avoiding burnout. So that brings us to the big question for you. Looking at these 3 stages, ideation, activation, implementation, which one gives you the most energy?